to introduce our first speaker. I've had the pleasure of working with this lovely man on the last legislative seminar. He is really a wonderful person to work with, him and Mary from his office. So I'd like to introduce Ron Johnson. He is the Executive Director of the Arizona Catholic Church. In this capacity, he represents Arizona's 5 Catholic bishops in public policy matters. Since coming to the ACC in 2003, Ron has been intimately involved with many high-profile issues, including the defense of marriage, religious freedom, rights of conscience for healthcare workers, pro-life matters, and the successful expansion of school choice legislation, among other issues. Ron received 3 degrees at Arizona State University and is the recipient of numerous awards for his community service, including the St. Thomas More Award, the Han Cucino Award, and the Outstanding Law Student of the Year Award. Ron is married to Francie Johnson, and they have 4 children.
Well, thank you all very much for attending today, and especially thank you for living your faith and for sharing your faith with others and being present. I also want to give special thanks to the Phoenix Diocesan Council of Catholic Women who sponsored this event from the very beginning, especially Rhapsody Canepa and Nancy Gray. It's great to work with you both again this year to pull off another hopefully successful event. Also the Knights of Columbus have been a great sponsor locally, but also nationally. You heard the mention of Carl Anderson, Mike mentioned a little bit. It is through their generosity that we were able to fund the new edition of Bishop Olmsted's booklet, Catholics in the Public Square, in conjunction with St. Benedict Press, who really gave us a wonderful deal. So we're very, very fortunate. We also are blessed to have some really good speakers today. One of them just stepped out of the room. I was going to say nice things about her, and I will anyway. But Dr. Jennifer Roback-Morse, who's come all the way this year from Louisiana to talk to us. She had spoken here a number of years ago in 2008. She only had to come from California, from San Diego, but she was the California Bishop's point person for the whole state when they were dealing with the marriage issues. So we're very fortunate to have her here today. And Alan Sears, who I can't say enough of, who's head of Alliance Defending Freedom. Looking forward to hearing his remarks once again. Alan is transitioning roles over the next year or so at ADF, but I just wanted to say what a true friend ADF is, and specifically Alan, to me, to the Catholic Church, to all of us, and what we do. So much of it is said, but most of it is unsaid. We wouldn't have these events without a lot of the resources and efforts that Alan and ADF has put into. So the room is pretty packed, and I can't find everybody here, but I know I did see earlier, if there are any dignitaries I missed, please forgive me or raise your hand, but I know I saw a great county attorney, Bill Montgomery. We're very fortunate to have such public servants and Catholics in the public square. I know I saw Amy Cook from the Gilbert Town Council. If I miss anybody, please forgive me, but we're grateful that you're here today, and all of you here coming here. We're also especially blessed in this diocese to really have such good shepherds. Those of you who've been here for a while in this diocese know how fortunate we are. And to have Bishop Navarez here, to have our welcome, and of course Bishop Olmsted is just truly remarkable for our diocese. So, Today is a really special event, this legislative seminar. As Rhapsody said, it's been going on for a number of years. In fact, it was at this event 10 years ago, in 2006, that the very first edition of Bishop Olmsted's booklet, Catholics in the Public Square, was released. Since that time, including today's booklets, over 300,000 have been distributed, hard copies, in the state of Arizona. We've also had it online and other forums, but through this booklet, we have really helped change the diocese for the better as part of it. Through better formation, with the laity, and encouragement of each other, and such good leadership. So this is where it all started, 10 years ago. 2 years after that, 2008, we do this every election year, as many of you know, and I see a lot of the same faces, but there's also a lot of new ones I see every year. But in 2008, we had the release of the second edition of Bishop Olmsted's booklet. And that was also the kicking off of the Catholic Church in support of the traditional marriage amendment that was on the ballot that year. I've got polling in my office that shows the impact of that. We have videos and other things that went on as well. But from the time of the campaign to the end, church-going Catholics moved 40 percentage points in favor of traditional marriage. So we're really happy. I think we saw the result of that impact 2 years later, in 2010, when we had the Manhattan Declaration, Comes to the Desert. And that is the year we got Professor Robbie George here, and a bunch of protesters decided to block us at the gate, locking themselves in, if those of you who remember, in the name of tolerance, of course, to delay our event. But you know, the way we do that is because we know we're having an impact in trying to do this. So that added some color. In 2012, we had the biggest attendance of all because we did this in conjunction with EWTN over at the convention center and had a few thousand people. And that was nationally televised and also released the third edition of Bishop's booklet at that point in time. And we were also celebrating, we were the first state, you know, that you hear about the federal contraceptive mandate. But Arizona was one of about 20 states that had state mandates too. We were the first state to successfully push back on that year. And so we celebrated that victory back then in 2012. 2014, the religious liberty battles continued, but we were celebrating a victory in the Hobby Lobby case, as you may remember, dealing with the contraceptive mandate on the federal level. And we knew the religious liberty battles would continue. And indeed they have, as we see in the current day, with the Little Sisters of the Poor case and other matters that still continue with respect to the contraceptive mandate and other religious freedom issues. So that brings us to now, 2016. We see all sorts of storm clouds building. Culture seems to get worse all of the time. But you know what? The Catholic Church has been around for over 2,000 years. And we're not going anywhere. So we're here to celebrate some things today. And one of them is the release of the Bishop Olmsted's fourth edition of Catholics in the Public Square. We've got over 55,000 copies here today. And I'm grateful to the parish representatives who are here. They will take them back and distribute them in your parishes. There are many here today. We'll have more coming next week. I'm told that the booklet is now online this morning, and that there's also, that's free. And then we have an ebook for those who like Kindles and stuff. We couldn't do that for free, so it's like 99 cents, the cheapest we can put it on. So if you want to do it that way, you can do that. So many different ways people across the country can access this booklet. And I encourage you to do so. There's updates in here, first of all. Pope Francis's visit to the U.S. and some really beautiful and strong statements updating the booklet. And just a powerful foreword from Archbishop Gomez, Archbishop of Los Angeles. It's completely consistent with the theme of Bishop Olmsted's booklet. And in fact, in there, he talks about the fact that there are many, many important issues in our country, but none as important as the right to life. So I really encourage you to look at these booklets and help distribute them as widely as possible. Now, the other good news that we can celebrate today is that Arizona is still a national, if not the national leader, in terms of pro-life and school choice legislation in the country. You know, in school choice, we have measures, ESAs, and tuition tax credits that help parents send their children to the schools that best fit their educational needs, providing, really helping them attend the school that best fits Catholic schools and other schools. In pro-life matters, we also have so many other good laws, and we passed some this year even. The role continues. We saw with the undercover videos with regard to Planned Parenthood what was going on. And we wanted to make sure in Arizona that aborted babies and their body parts were not sold in the state. So we passed legislation this year that Governor Ducey signed into law to make sure that does not happen. We also, and largely through the Arizona Catholic Conference, we've done this 4 or 5 times now through the years, enhanced the charitable organization tax credit. For some of you may be tired of hearing me talk about it. But it's huge. Right now, you can give to a faith-based organization, a crisis pregnancy center, but not Planned Parenthood because they're off the list. It's illegal to do. You can get a dollar for dollar credit off your income taxes. So now the limit is $400 for an individual, $800 for a married couple, and because of the new laws, you can give to an organization like Catholic Charities that provides care to foster care children. So you can do both credits now. And as if that wasn't enough, we had another piece of legislation that the Catholic Conference initiated that if you don't make it by the end of the year, December 31st, you can make your contribution the following year up till April 15th and still get the credit back from the previous year. And we know from these types of these laws that we've done in the past that donations to faith-based charities have tripled. So we're really encouraged by these laws, and that we're blessed to live in a state like we do here. So, but those are the good things. We still know that the threats to religious liberty continue. And there are other threats in other ways too. Very soon, if you don't know already, there are outside interests that are building, they're going to spend millions of dollars in this state to change Arizona for the worst. And what they're trying to do is to legalize recreational marijuana, not even medicinal marijuana, but recreational marijuana throughout Arizona. And if they succeed, it will be virtually impossible to undo these laws. We have seen when this has happened in other states, like in the state of Colorado and Washington, where traffic accidents, public safety have been seriously threatened. Kids have been put in danger, but there's much more illicit drug use that has occurred after this. And it's written so nefariously in so many respects, but it's basically an inside job. People are going to make a ton of money off of this. We're grateful. Again, I mentioned Bill Montgomery earlier. He's one of the leaders of this, and he's getting unfairly attacked in some of these regards too for stepping out of this. But we're grateful that we have people speaking out on this. And you'll note that the Catholic bishops don't say, they make their words very carefully, and they take their positions carefully in terms of ballot issues. But this is one they felt strong enough, all of them, that they wanted to speak out against. And you'll even see the statement there from the Catholic bishops opposing this measure. So you should each one of those out in your chair. You can also find it online. But I would encourage you all to become better educated as you hear this campaign going, and to vote no on Proposition 205. The election is November 8th. There's a lot of important things out there. It's not just the president. You know, all these laws I talk about don't happen unless we've got good people in office. So turn out and vote. And especially we have to vote against some of this garbage as well. So I just want to make sure you're all aware of that as well. But these threats are out there. I mean, now we've got the marijuana threat. We've got the religious liberty threats. It is more important than ever to become a Catholic in the public square. Having said that, I would be less than honest if I didn't tell you something you already know anyway, that the cost of doing so is getting increasingly higher and higher. Threats to employment and to people's reputation is becoming more and more immense for doing so. Media and politicians seem to go, or any public figures, seem to go overboard to mischaracterize Catholics and Christians and people of faith. At best, they call us intolerant or ignorant, and make sure we do. At worst, and more commonly, they call us hateful. You know, and that's what hurts, because we know that's not true. And we also know that we have the truth, but in many respects, the word is not getting out. And a lot of that is because of people's preconceived notions of who we are and what we're about. There are two things we need to do. You're going to hear about both of them from our speakers today. One is to protect our religious liberty. That's something that ADF does now is going to talk about throughout the world. And it's such an important, vital concept. But the other part is important too, because we can make religious liberty arguments, but because we're perceived as bigots and hate-filled, there's not much tolerance for the bigot. And so there are those who also want to say, well, let's just compromise with the other side. It will never make them happen. What we need to do is speak the truth and show ourselves to be who we are, explain why we believe what we believe. And Dr. Morris is going to talk a little bit about that, why we need to go further. So we need both of those as going forward at this very crucial time in our history. We need Catholics in the public square to be simply lights in the darkness. We need to resist the temptation to withdraw. You know, I get that. to go into the bubble and it's nice and safe. I'm not saying don't ever do it. I mean, there are times you need a break, but you can't stay there forever. And we do need to go out into the public square and engage. And we may not always get the results we want. Certainly not always in the time frame that we want. I want them quick. But, but we know who wins in the end. And we need to have faith and trust in God. And there's many ways that you can help. First of all, to be a good Catholic in the public square, as Bishop mentioned earlier, we need to form our conscience and to vote. You can do that many ways. Obviously, the booklets here help form your conscience. I'm speaking quiet, I know. Form your conscience and vote. We also have a candidate survey that's online now for the primary election. We'll have it up again in October by the time early voting begins, October 12th. We'll have it in the Catholic Sun as well for how candidates respond to different questions. So I encourage you to look at that. While you're on the list, you can sign up for our legislative updates, which we send periodically at azcatholicconference.org. Another way to be a good Catholic in the public square is to run for office or to support those who do. It's always important for me to know, because I get calls like this all the time, election time especially. Why isn't the Catholic Church? Well, the Catholic Church is never partisan, and we can't be. It's not an appropriate role. But having said that, it doesn't mean that's a bad thing to believe. In fact, it's good, and I want to encourage you. This is something that the Catholic Church, in its own teachings, refers to as the noble art of politics. And we need public service, and Catholics that are going to step up. So that's one thing I would encourage you to consider. Praying for abortion clinics, of course, is such an important thing. And I know Nancy, with the 40 Days for Life, Brady, those types of roles, encourage that. Monitoring school board meetings for compliance. We have a great law that happened with ADF several years ago that is law now, that if you're a public or charter school and you talk about abortion, you can do so under one condition, and that's that you promote childbirth and adoption over abortion. But Sunday school boards get a little bit squirrely, and so we need people at these meetings to pay attention to what's going on, and even better, run for these offices, be the decision makers who do this sort of thing. That would be another way I would encourage you. Finally, I would talk about following the lead of Pope Francis. Show concern for the poor. Volunteer with local charities. Exhibit compassion for immigrant families and refugees. Love everyone, including our opponents. And finally, forgive, especially those who hurt us. Last, we need to pray. We can do nothing without God, but with Him, anything is possible, even in today's world. So thank you again for coming this year. God bless you.
Thank you, Ron, for your presentation, for your diligent work through the Arizona Catholic Conference. Our next